Hello and welcome to Are You Pregnant with Purpose? And today our topic is create mode. This is the fun part because when you are having a child, hi GC, I believe it's the second time I've seen you. Nice to see you again. Um, when you having a child, I believe most people say that the create mode of conceiving a baby is the funnest part, isn't it not? Do I need to go into detail as to what that is? Y'all know what that is. Let's not go there. But in that time of creation, you've done the prep work. You've eaten right. You've checked your body. Your mindset's right. Your diet is right. You've charted your course and your cycles. So now it's time to create. Your body has had time to rest. You've rested your mind, soul, body, and spirit. Everything is good in all its ways. You're positive. And when you're in a positive, less stress situation, you can conceive a child without the risk of a miscarriage. Now it's time to get in there and do what it do. In the name of Jesus. Have fun with procreation. Now, as it relates to business, get your mind out the gutter. What does this look like? The procreation of business. The spark moment. A lot of people in Christianity like to refer to this as the moment of the baby leaping. In Matthew, I'm not sure which chapter it is, when Mary goes to see Elizabeth after she's been told by the angel Gabriel that she is carrying the Messiah. She goes to see her cousin Elizabeth, and Elizabeth has been pregnant for about 6 months now, and she has not felt her baby move at all. And second, that she comes into contact with Mary, who now has just found out that she's pregnant by conception, spiritual conception, that she in fact is pregnant as well. The baby in Elizabeth's belly jumps. What does this mean? The spark. Sometimes all you need to come into conception is a spark. Go to a meeting, go to a business event, go to some place where you can come into contact and the realm and the connection with people that give you an exciting jump in your belly, that gives you that spark that you need. That thing that helps you conceive the idea, to initiate the spark for the thing to be created that you're desiring to create. That moment in time where you say, aha, I have it. Whether it be for your book idea, whether it be for your business idea, whether it be for that moment where you draft up. I always love going to see my coach whenever she goes live online at any particular point in time, because if you go in the room when she in there and you are lacking creativity, sometimes you just hear her talk. I have created 3 and 5 things in a one night period just because I listened to her talk for 5 minutes on an hour-long broadcast. I was like, spark. You just gave me something for something I have been trying to figure out for the longest period of time, and now it finally has come to me how I can solve that one problem. Spark. Whether it's a TV series, whether it's an idea for a blog that you want to set up, whether it's an idea for a vision that God gave you for something. The other night, I sat up there and I've been trying to figure out what I was going to do. I needed to create a podcasting speech page. and I didn't know what I was going to do. I literally had just gotten into my websites and was going to go in and create a brand new website as a template to give myself an idea of where I wanted to place things, because I'm starting a new website design system and I'm trying to learn the thing, but I wanted to do a setup on the platform that I knew, and I realized, wait a minute, I already got a page that I can use to just reformat to show this is what I want to talk about, speak about, podcast, whatever that is about. I just have to rearrange this page. I went in and I spent about an hour and a half rearranging the page, dragging and dropping information, and boom, 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 I was done. Now, if I want to take that and convert it over, I can just convert over, drag, drop the information, and or go into the back portion of the system, because they do a lot of HTML coding, and drop in the information in the in-betweens of the parenthetical notationary commas, where it says drop your information here, drop the information here, drop your paragraph, go back in, add a period in between, add your it's something called, it's a notation, BR notation, that breaks up. This literally is a break between, so you can break everything up, break it down, and then you add like your bold in synthetical notations and so on and so forth. It's a little bit more tedious, but you can figure it out if you want to sit there and go through the process. 9 times out of 10, I don't really feel like going through that process. Can I? Yes. Don't really feel like it most times. But it kind of takes you out of your zone when it takes too long. But you go through the process of building out what it is. And this looks like, if you were pregnant, going and getting the test, getting confirmation from your doctor, getting the sonogram picture to show that you are pregnant with a child, preparing for the delivery of that child. What does this look like in a business? Figuring out your outline for your business. Drafting up your proposal. Taking your drafted proposal to the SBA or wherever it is that you're going to get your loan for your money. Showing them that you have a proposal, you have your financial statements showing this is your predicted amounts of money that you predict that you will make in this time frame, and how you plan to spend their money if they give you $150,000 to operate your business for that 1 year. And it's just a potential. Pause. I want to take a moment to talk about the sonogram. When you are pregnant with purpose, you're going to have to go to a business coach, talk to a lawyer, see that this idea that you have conceived is worth following up on and pursuing as a lucrative business. As I just said, with a business plan, marketing plan, and proposal. One of the places that you can go is SCORE through SBA. These are people that are retired and they can help you walk through the process. I don't know if they're doing any in-location consultations. I went there in person a couple of years ago and I met this wonderful older gentleman. I wonder if he's still living, because he was a pretty aged guy. But he gave me a lot of information and he was very chipper. Kind of miss him. He's a pretty nice guy. And they give you as much business advice as you want. And they have a couple of different ones. And you can go in there and you can just sit down and you can talk. And I'm pretty sure even now, if they're still doing it, they probably do it by Zoom meeting only. But if they haven't opened the buildings back up. but I'm pretty sure they still do consultations, and you can sit and you can talk about your businesses in order to get SBA loans and so on and so forth. Now, if it's something that you had the concept for, that you have a LLC for, a location, a actual office, you've had it for a year, you can actually apply to get you a PPP loan or some type of grant. Grant subsidy for anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000 just as a starter cost to get you the ability to get what you're doing and envisioning off the ground. If you can work with $10,000, you can show proof that you've done something with that. You could probably increase getting you that $150,000 with the right proposal. When you look at a sonogram, it isn't the full desired grown baby that you are going to deliver. It is in its infantile stage, and it looks like a very small, sometimes just a dot. Ain't no bigger than a dot, but it's something there to tell you it's something there. So you operate with that. Now, in today's time frame, your sonograms have gotten way technical, and you can get a sonogram at 4 months, 5 months, and you can see the facial features and turn the baby, and you can see everything in there. So, but in order for you to see it come to pass, you must prepare for this thing. You must nurture it. You must grow it. And I'm going to leave you with this last note. Always remember this. Prepare for what you prayed for. And I'm going to actually go a little bit more in depth with this for a second, because I just don't want to end the video just yet. Prepare for what you prayed for. I'm going to roll it back in time. About 7 years ago, I sat down and I made a note in my computer system in an ink pad note. I'm very thorough. I know how to write an outline like nobody's business. So I wrote this very thorough outline of where I wanted to see my life, what I wanted to see my life accomplish, business-wise, home-wise, relationship-wise, fashion-wise, every area of my life that I wanted touched. I wrote it all down. And from that point in time, I've prayed over that list of things. I've segmented that list into living, finance, business, marriage. I've prayed over every segment, every important aspect of each segment, where I want to see my money, how I'd like to see my money, how I pray over my money, what scriptures are in alignment with covering my money, any monies lost being returned to me, so on and so forth, turning around and going back. As relates to my business, praying over the scriptures that show me about whatever assets that I'm trying to acquire, generational assets, building up wealth building scriptures, so on and so forth, in order to make sure that I'm financially preparing myself that way. Then I also am looking at how I'm preparing my household, what I want my household to look like, how I want to live, what it is I'm desiring, creating the vision, making it plain. Habakkuk 2 and 2 for runners to go and get upon the right time frame, what I want my marriage to look like when I get married eventually. Could be sooner rather than later, who knows? That's up to the Lord. But making the effort to put it before God. For me, I put it before God. I don't know what you serve, but I serve God. And then preparing physically. Faith without works is dead. What are you doing? If you want marriage, how are you taking care of your body to prepare for children? How are you taking care of your mind in order to prepare for the types of conversations you're going to have if you're going to get married? How are you preparing to cover your business? How are you preparing? What are you putting into your body mentally and emotionally in order to sustain yourself if you're going to go into business? How are you taking care of yourself in order to be able to sustain the run of operating a business? How are you taking care of yourself to operate in money? Are you a good steward of the money that you already have? And how are you stewarding the money as it comes to you? How do you break it down? How do you sow it? How do you balance it? How do you balance your checkbook? Are you sowing into yourself for the seasons to come? How are you operating with yourself financially in that manner? How are you covering your household? How are you covering what you already have? Are you taking care of what you already have? Are you cleaning your house? Are you operating in your house in a certain way in which it helps your home come into the fullness of the alignment of what it's supposed to look like during the way in which you cover your home? How are you preparing for what you prayed for, so that when it manifests in your life, you can fully see the operation of it and receive it in its fullness and the glory of what it's meant to be? So, what does that look like for you? I am a creative. I am a writer. I like to do music. I love to create food. The other day, I did a meal for a family member. And if you look on one of my previous reels, which is in this list of reels, if you look back, it's the reel that has the food in it. I did that. How are you preparing? If you want to be married, how are you preparing for your spouse? Are you learning what they like? Do you know who your spouse is? Are you engaged? Are you whatever that is? How are you planning to take care of that particular person? How are y'all planning to take care of your household? How are you adjusting to the idea of having a household and potentially having kids? And how is that going to look for you? How are you building? How are you growing? Is it more than just what you expect? What does it look like? How are you preparing in all of these manners? For me, when it comes down to music, because I love music, music is not something that I ever saw myself doing, but over time, granted, I found a passion for it, and people actually started telling me, you know that you should be doing music, right? So, as of right now, I just talk about the business side of music from my understanding, which isn't very much different than the business side of anything else. It's just how it applies to the music industry, and then understanding those little loopholes that the music industry uses to try to trip people up, which is it's stupid. We just shoot the breeze right now. And it's that understanding that you have the knowledge necessary. It's like when I talk about fashion. For music, it's the same thing. What is it that you're trying to develop? Are you trying to write or develop a song? Okay, what does that look like? For me, I write a poem first. I create a bridge. I create my hooks and lyrics. Then I go back in and I find the melody and I create that. What's the sound I'm hearing? What's the cadence of this song? Then I go back in and I either use an Output Arcade or something that I can go and find a melody or a beat. I'll sometimes just go on YouTube and listen to The free stuff that they give out, it's just on there, and I'll find my cadence of sound, and then I'll say I like this higher tone, I like this lower tone. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll download certain high tones and low tone beats, and I'll intertwine them in an application of some sort, and I will create my background beats. Sometimes you can go and you can take those same types of beats and go through Output Arcade, tone them up, tone them down, however you want to do them, in order to develop your background beats, because you have to have your sliders, you have to have your background beats, you have to have your low tones and your high tones. And sometimes, depending on what your cadence is, because there are certain levels in which you have to play for certain instrumental sound. For instance, Spanish sounding music operates on a three chord tone. That's very specific. Jazz operates on a three chord tone. Is completely different than Spanish tone. Then, if you're going to operate in reggae, there's another three chord tone that's completely different. Understanding what each of these three chord tones are. Understanding what your tones are that are popular right now. Because there are some tones that are more popular in today's pop music than were in past. From your Phrygians, your Mono-Phrygians, and so on and so forth. So it's understand certain elements that have a breakdown to them. And these are all part of understanding how you're going to develop and prepare. This is how you would prepare if you're creating music. Understanding what your sound is. Your sound or your body of work going to be a series of songs, and what is that? Is the tone going to change throughout the songs? Is there going to be an underlying beat that is in each and every song that has a cadence that brings you back through that same tone? Are you using a metronome? Because if you notice, you may not notice it because you don't pay attention to music like that, but there's a metronome used 9 times out of 10 in every song. That's that tick, 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 tick. It's intertwined in the beat. They usually use the metronome to find the cadence for the sound, and in order to find the bass line, and then they operate from there. So you might find in a song it has a certain amount of claps, where your claps come in. Tick, 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 tick. Yeah. So, understanding that you have to have that balance. How long do you want your song? You want your song to be a 30-second intro song because you're making a jingle? Do you want it to be a 5-minute song? Do you want it to be a 7-minute song? I love double-sided songs that you used to hear from your oldies. Now the oldies, they used to do it. They could do it in 5 to 6 minutes. The today's music, I like Justin Timberlake just for this factor alone. He would write songs that were 9 minutes long because his song split into 2 halves, and the beats were sick because he worked with Timberland. Ugh. I'm just having a moment here. I'm shooting the breeze with this. But, yeah, understanding how long you want your song. I've written over 60 pieces of music. I remember I was listening to, what's the guy's name? I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's a music producer that created just Demi Lovato, Sorry. And he was like, you can write a song, but can that song go anywhere? That's a good question. You can take the beat, you can take the melody, you can do all this. Can you sing over top of that melody? And what does that sound like? Do you have confidence enough in you? Do you know that not having enough confidence in your voice will determine how good or bad that song sounds when you try to sing it? That's one of the reasons why I have not sang half the work that I have written. But it's going to come back together. It's going to come back in order. Because I go through seasons. I think I sang better 4.5 years ago, but I went through a lot of trauma in the past 4 years. And I lost confidence in my voice, let alone my diet changed, and that changed my voice. So I notice hiccups, pauses, and confidential notes that deal with my confidence not being high enough to hit the note that I'm desiring to hit when I sing. So there are certain things that I've got to work on before I start singing again. But my writing is semi on point. And once you understand that, you go back in and you make the changes that you need to make. And then you determine, where do you want to go with this? Do you want to turn it into a music video? Because most of the time when you are creating content, they really do want you to turn it into some type of musical video conceptual idea so that you can put the music over top of something, just to have almost like a copywriting where you send the letter back to yourself to be your own notary. That's all you're doing. So what are you doing? How are you preparing in whatever level at which you want to develop? Whether you're cooking, whether you're writing, or you're creating courses, whatever it is that you're doing, how are you building? Think about these things. What are you preparing? What's your create mode look like? Are you a designer? Are you a musician? Are you a cook? Are you an interior designer? Are you a fashion designer? Are you a stylist? What does that look like? Write down what you need, figure out what you want to develop, creatively create your mood for that thing, line it up, and outline it. Nothing is different from any of these different modes of operandi, whether you are creating a fashion line or what have you. Identify what you want and then create from the business perspective. Development, advertisement, what have you. How are you doing that? How are you using Instagram to do that? Research it. What do you ever see other artists doing if you're a musician? What do you see other fashion designers doing if you're a fashion designer? Search how to do that. Are you creating your own community? Are you creating a membership in order for people to test out your music before you even get the music out there? What are you doing to allow people to have exclusive access to your content? It makes you more money and it helps you out on a ladder basis. Just a thought process, wherever you're coming from. But how are you building your empire to make yourself a lucrative amount of money on the latter end? It's not about bleeding people dry for money. It's about people that love you. I heard somebody say this recently, the past couple of days. They said that on these social media platforms, if you really want to make an impact, especially now that Instagram, our wonderful platform we're on right now, you can now create a membership subscription. That only works if you have fans. Ergo, if you are a musician, it works to have a subscription base if you have music. So you have to go from people that like your content, people that like you as a person, that will buy anything that you have. That happens a lot with my coach. People will buy anything she has as long as she opens her mouth and tells us about it. And lastly, then you got the fans, whatever you call that. That's like when you got people like, you know who, Miss Beyonce herself. Everybody uses her as an example because can't nobody think of nobody else. She about the first person that comes across the top of your thought process when you need somebody quick to think about that. Who can I think about that has heavy access right now? Oh, look, Beyonce. That's why we always talk about it, because she's the easiest person that you can talk about. And guess what? She don't care, because as the first, that's business 101. If you can keep your name in everybody else's mouth, you making money. Okay? If you can get people to talk about you like people talk about her, you gonna be making some money. That's what that gonna show. Just the thought. But how are you positioning yourself as you are pregnant with purpose in your create mode? Are you making mood boards? Are you making profiles? Are you creating your outlines? What's your outline? Whether it's for music, whether it's food, whether it's for a recipe, whether it's for books, whether it's for business plans, whether it's for coaching, whatever it is. How are you prepping? How are you lining it up? And how are you putting it out there? That's all you're worried about. And it's going through the process and the fullness of what you're able to do. And then once you have created a process that can be easily repeatable, you can then pass it on to other workers, that you can outsource the work to somebody else, and you can focus on other things that you are good at, thereby creating more than one stream of income, whether it's multiple books, multiple albums, multiple projects. And then all you're doing is going out and making appearances, doing keynote speeches. Maybe you book a cruise. Maybe you book something that you can have the opportunity to do something to make an impact in some sort of way like that. What do you do? And how you do it? Think. How would you position yourself if you really wanted to create something phenomenal? Think about that. Write it down. Until next time, this is Taj Cameron from Steam to Live the Dream. What are you pregnant with purpose for? Bye-bye.